right. The Bottom Line Bombs on the Sports Gaming Podcast Network is brought to you by Edge Boost. Edge Boost enables you to double your bet with no interest. Go to sportsgamingpodcast.com/edge to get started today. And with that, we're going to get started right now.
Gladiator Arena in Los Angeles, California. Here are your American Gladiators. Ice, ice, baby. Jive. Blade. Do the thunder shake. Storm. Laser. Disaster. Power. Violent. Nitro. The Samuel Goldwyn Company presents the American Gladiators. Let the games begin.
Yes, how about that? That was incredible. That's me, CJ Sullivan, your American Gladiator Bottom Line Bombs. Welcome. I'm just saying words out of order, context order. That is the theme for the American Gladiators. This is American Gladiator show today here on the Bottom Line Bombs. It's not a full episode, but you know what I mean. I'm your host, CJ Sullivan. The picks with bits for tobacco use only, the Bottom Line Bombs, and that was American Gladiators. Today, we're going to recap some of the stuff that happens over the weekend. I'll preview the Stanley Cup Game 2, which is tonight. But mostly, I want to talk about the 30 for 30 doc on ESPN. That was the American Gladiator. So it'll be an elongated man in the box. So welcome everyone who's joining me on the YouTube, on the Spotify's, on the iTunes. Make sure you subscribe and like and all that stuff. So we will, and then later on in a little bit on the show, this is also exciting news. I'm gonna have my first ever guest in the box. I usually have a strict rule. Nobody in the box, just the man in the box. But I'm gonna patch someone else through to the box today. First interview ever. So that's exciting. That should be worthy of that music. But it's not. It'll be Adam Ridley, who is the editor of the 30 for 30 doc of the American Gladiators, which happened on ESPN weekend. And if you haven't watched this 30 for 30 documentary, watch it. It's pretty fucking great. It's a two-parter. I don't even want to get into it yet. But we're going to have him on. We're going to do an interview to find, because there's a hidden gem came out of this documentary, an old-fashioned scumbag, the quote-unquote founder of American Gladiators. And this guy was Johnny Ferraro, whatever his name is. He inspired me to have my first guest because, well, Adam Ridley's a good friend, and he does great work on these sports documentaries. He's also from Last Chance U. He's done things like that. But when you get a scumbag like this, that's why I had him on for the scumbag coach from the conference. This guy, I'm like, well, that's it. I'll open up the box for guests to get any more information on this Johnny Ferraro guy. So we'll get to that in a little bit. But first, let's talk a little bit about what happened real quick. Let's get into some actual sports. Not like the Gladiators were not, but we'll talk about Nitro and Zap, Gemini and Malibu and all the boys and girls from the, why am I doing this voice? I got excited. Let's talk about real quick. The NBA finals got tied up last night. 1-1 Miami. It's so funny. The narrative, the media narrative that happens to it. Like Denver won game 1. They crushed Miami because Miami had dead legs, which we had. We hit that bomb easily. We gave Denver -9. It was just an ideal setup. The team coming off a 7-game series, you're going to be tired going into Denver. Off a short turnaround in altitude. You got to play in the landing of the moon surface. And then game 2, Miami bounced back. They made adjustments. Bless was amazing. And now the narrative switches immediately. The one from the Nuggets were going to be unstoppable to like, oh God, what did we do? We might have gave this away. Now we got a fucking series. It's so funny the way they talk about it. ESPN has the NBA Finals, so that's all you get is ESPN coverage. And that's basically what this is a blowback towards. TNT had the Boston Miami series, and it's sad when they got to go away. And they like wave goodbye, like they're going off the graduate summer vacation. Like, no, Barkley and Ernie Johnson and Shaq, don't leave us, Kenny. No, at least keep Kenny around, because ESPN coverage is brutal. I'm not talking about the end game. I actually don't mind Breed and Mark Jackson, Van Gundy. But Stephen A. Smith and Greeny and fucking Jalen, they're just terrible. And they try to be Barkley and Shaq, and they're obviously not. But the good thing is, though, and I said this last night, once the game's over, Miami won the game, you can just turn it off immediately. You can put on literally anything else. You know you're not going to miss a thing. Nothing viral is going to happen that's going to be good or anything that you need to see with their postgame. Their coverage is horrendous. I mean, just as personalities are so bad. I love how ESPN is paying themselves into this corner where they're firing thousands and hundreds of reporters and personalities, and they're paying like 5 people all the money, and now people can't stand them. So Splasher is amazing. His coaching level, they're going to talk about him like he's better than, Red Auerbach, for crying out loud. And he is. John Wooden, all them are fucking nothing. Curtis Splasher. He did make an amazing move. It's so funny. So the narrative is the lazy narrative, as they say, is you just got to let Jokic score. That way he won't pass the ball. And that's kind of what they did last night. He scored 41, should have had 43 because that goaltending, or 45, whatever it was. But he only had 4 assists. So then Rashawn Shelburne for ESPN asked him about that, and he fucking went off. He's like, yeah, maybe to the untrained eye, I'm sick of this. He does all this stuff. Oh, whoa, take it easy. But I get, like, we all like her, but we hate ESPN. So sorry, you work for ESPN. This is what you're getting. Just supposed to just start screaming about that narrative, but also it's what it was. The untrained eye. What a fucking pretentious way to say. Yes, my eye is untrained. Train my eye, Eric. Eric, will you train my eye to how to watch Jokic play basketball and why he does multiple things? Yes, my eye's untrained. It's also fucking red-eyed from alcohol, drugs. No. Anyway, then you got Malone on the other side. Denver spent half the playoffs saying, "Why don't you talk about us?" And then we talked about how great they were, and he was mad. No, we're not that great. I told you. Then they lose last night, and he's like, I told you we're not that good. You guys laughed at me. Gee, well, which is it, Malone? Are you good or you not? Tell us. We'll do it. The untrained eye says it's good. The ESPN. So I'm liking the ESPN backlash that's happening. That's basically what Miami was doing, or Splasher was doing. Like they know Game 3 is not till Wednesday. Like, I just don't want to hear about this nonstop. That's all you guys do. Let's talk about the same fucking bullet points. So I made some good adjustments, though. Besides what he really did, the real adjustment was putting Kevin Love in to guard Aaron Gordon, and it worked. How the hell does that work? And that freed up Jimmy Butler to defend Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray did nothing. Jamal Murray, my MVP tickets, that's a literal bomb. That's not hitting. That is done, by the way. I don't think there's anything Jamal Murray can do now to win the MVP. Just rip. Those tickets are ripped apart. Sorry, listeners, for that one. But Jesus God. So Butler defended Murray. He shut him down. So I like Denver to bounce back, but we'll get back into that's Wednesday's show anyway. We don't have to get into that. Yeah, I love when people are surprised with the ESPN backwards. Like Shelburne, it was kind of like what Splasher said was right about the Jokic narrative, but you don't yell, you don't be snappy about that with the fucking untrained eye shit. But hey, that's what you get for working for ESPN. It's like Pat McAfee taking that contract to, taking a show to ESPN. He was surprised by the blowback. He built. Why are you? The entire thing was about how you're against ESPN. Don't go to ESPN. What? My listeners they didn't realize I was lying when I said I don't care about that shit. That's what's. I'll get into that in the second half. I got to do some ad reads real quick. But like on tonight's show. It is tonight's show. It's a big interview in the box. We have Adam Ridley from the 30 for 30 American Gladiators, which we'll have coming up in a little bit. We're also going to be at the Stanley Cup Game 2 bombs. And I might do another even man in the box at the end. But we're going to have an extended man in the box from American Gladiators. But first, let me tell you about Edge Boost. This episode is supported by Edge Boost. It's the world's first bet now, pay later Visa card. It currently offers up to $2,500 in betting advances, which can extremely be valuable tool. Imagine what you can do with the increased bankroll. Get down some of your favorite futures without tying your bankroll up for months. It's not some sleazy loan shark. They charge 0 interest. Like I said, they're more like a lone dolphin, you know? Something like some girl gets a tattoo on her ankle of, then gets a dream catcher and appropriates that culture. Do you know of a way you can access money to place in your favorite bet without paying any interest? Support SGPN and grow your bankroll by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/edge to sign up. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/edge. Must be 21 or older to use. Problem gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, we are back in the bombs. Getting into it, like I said, for the American Gladiator episode. I will talk about the Gladiators in a second. This 30 for 30 documentary that is coming up. Just looking at some of the things. I was talking about that. Because the sports media during this time, the sports media becomes a huge thing. ESPN's going to fire a lot of people, by the way. I just read that. It's so disgusting what they do. The way they pay, just fucking like Stephen A. Smith owns that network, basically. And whatever you want to say about Stephen A. Smith, I don't care. It's weird how to me, so the big news last week in sports media was Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. Shannon Sharpe leaving Skip Bayless. And everyone's like, yeah, everyone hates Skip Bayless. And I get hating Skip Bayless. Of course, that's his role. That's what he does. What I don't get is why people give Stephen A. pass and he's doing performance art and Skip Bayless is not. Like they're the same fucking person. They do the same exact thing. Matter of fact, Skip Bayless taught Stephen A. Smith. He was like his mentor. And then he went off and whatever. They just, ESPN's got a bigger audience, period. So when he does these things with Shannon Sharpe, people are like, yeah, I knew Unc was mad when he did this. When he took his glasses off and he belittled him like that. I mean, I'm sure the working relationship must be tough when you're fucking saying this nonsense to each other, but they also know that's part of the game. It's what it is. They don't believe in any of this shit. Then you have Stephen A. Smith. Put Stephen A. and Sharpe on the same. Stephen A's never. Yeah, he's like, he would love to have him on the show. Yeah, I'm sure he would. Stephen A. would love to have Shannon Sharpe on his show for like a Tuesday afternoon segment with Chris Russo, maybe. He's not gonna have him permanently on. That's what he does. He wants to be the star. He makes all the money. There's not enough money for that. That's why he kicked off Max Kellerman to have rotating debaters debate him. So he can just be the sole star, which, like I said, I don't care. Do it. Get yours. Be a ridiculous human being. That's fine. But you know what I mean? Like I just don't get. I mean, I get the hate for Skip Bayless. I just don't get how people don't get him, but they get Stephen. I don't get it. It's the same. A lot of saying gets right there. And Sano says, "Hey, I know." Don't see what Stephen A. said. He wants to become the greatest talent on air sports talent. Wants to get into acting. What are you talking about? People do whatever. I don't want to talk about the other media too much. It's just so funny. I mean, they're screaming fake debates. They don't believe in any of this. Anyway, let's. I don't want. Now I'm getting myself angry. I don't want to get myself angry on American Gladiator Day. What I do want to do. Let's play that theme song again. How amazing is that theme song?
Ladies and gentlemen, from Gladiator Arena in Los Angeles, California, here are your American Gladiators. Ice, baby! Jedi! Blade! Do the thunder shake! Storm! Laser! Disaster! Power!
Let the games begin.
God damn it. That's it. I'm turning the bottom line bombs into an American Gladiator themed show from here on in until football starts. The second these NBA finals end, and that's when Shannon Sharpe's leaving, by the way. I mean, as soon as these NBA finals, because you need me to fucking, you need me to defend the LeBron versus Jokic arguments of all time legacies. That's it. Turn right into American Gladiators, 30 for 30. Insano, welcome to the show. He said he loved the tennis ball gun event and American Gladiators. Yeah, you mean assault? Insano? Is that what you mean? Assault? As you can see on the board, that zap with the tennis ball gun. Assault, it was like, yeah, it was assault. That was probably the best event of American Gladiators. That's when you had to run through, like you had closer to the gladiator. Nitro or someone was on top of a huge, tower there. And he shot these fucking tennis balls at you, and you would go side to side trying to get hit by those things and shoot a gun back at the thing. Shoot at a bullseye above them and try to hit that, and then smoke would come up. So this 30 for 30, you got to check out. It goes through a lot of the events, and let me pull up some of these. Who are your favorite? What are some of those events? Let me see. Let me go through some of these events they did. If you don't remember American Gladiators, it was a show, obviously. Saturday mornings, one for kids. It had these roided up fucking, all bodybuilders and wrestlers or ex-football players, and they put in these crazy events like jousting where they're hitting each other with a stick. They're playing this. What was the fucking Powerball? They're basically trying to, put this ball, like dunking it in a basket, while these fucking roided up monsters are chasing you. And they throw you to the ground and they roid rage on these people. These guys aren't getting paid anything. So it's like true, like American Ninja and all that stuff that happens now, but this was just all unregulated shit. Hang tough, human cannonball, dude. They would swing on this rope, legs coming flying right at some fucking bodybuilder who would have like this little umpire chest protector thing to swipe back his legs, and if you mistimed it, like Malibu did one time, he got absolutely fucking crushed. Legs right to his fucking head, knocked him off a 30-foot high balcony. Like, what is going on? Swing shot. It's a nice the wall, sky track. I was looking at some of these events. The gauntlet, the dime would end well to be a gauntlet. So these guys, so this 30 for 30 documentary, if you haven't watched it, I'll just go with you. These guys obviously are not treated well. The gladiators themselves. Your Vipers, your Malibus of the world, They didn't have any insurance. They didn't have any royalties. They had to pay for their own injuries. They had this MASH unit there inside the studio. And so basically in the studio. And they break their hand and break their finger. Like, all right, get back out there, guys. What? Patch it up. Yeah, Larry Zonka doing the sideline reporter. And he's just there with a huge mustache and a fucking microphone. And he's like leaning in. He's leaning into Titan as Titan's arm is broken. He's like, oh man, did you climb the Gallup pole with that thing? The Herculator? Yes, I did, Larry. I'm getting paid $25,000 for the entire year. And I have no residuals for a thing that's on every lunchbox and every kid goddamn sculpt. They show. I'm just looking at some of this stuff here. So the events were fucking nuts, and then the people would line up, and I don't know. I can't wait to get into this thing about this guy Jerry Ferraro. So this Jerry Ferraro guy, like I said, he's the old school scumbag. Apparently, he stole all these event things from this guy named Apache Dan Carr, who's like this huge body. That's the thing; they're all huge bodybuilders, and So they're easy to manipulate. They're easy to make him sign these terrible contracts, which they all did. So this guy Johnny made him sign Malibu and Nitro and all these guys sign these awful contracts. Like, you can't get out of it. If you don't, you gotta live up to the deal. That's what he said. He says these amazing things like, you took the deal, you got to live up to it. Why don't you leave then if you don't like it? Well, you just told me I have to live up to this deal or you're going to fucking sue me. He's incredible. So he tries to dictate this documentary, and I can't wait till Adam comes on a little bit. I'm going to ask him more questions about this guy because he just says like, did you talk to because half the gladiators hate this guy Johnny. Half of them are dead. Obviously, a lot of them have tragic endings. I was shocked more watching this documentary that all these guys some of them were still alive, even though it was only like 15 years ago, and they were young then. I mean, can you imagine being these professional wrestlers and football players, but without any of the money? I mean, any of the money. They're interviewing people now, even with their lives turned around. Like guys like Malibu, his life is turned around. He's still got a roommate. He's like, keep it down. My roommate's back here. And he's got a wife that doesn't speak English. Great story. So you didn't realize how hard it is. It is 7th season, but they shot the whole season like in 3 weeks. So they're there with concussions or they're doing these events. They're falling down in mats. They said one time the mats weren't blowing up, so they went to a hardware store and grabbed leaf blowers to fill up the mats. And you got Atlas over there. It's like, no, it's great. Yeah, the mats got filled up all right, but there weren't enough to hold a 300-pound man flying off a 45-foot rope. And they would fucking get crushed and crumbled. Thunder, that was one of the saddest stories of this documentary. Thunder, one of the gladiators. I mean, he's damn near crippled. He can't even stand up straight. He looks like he went through a war, which he did. He went through American a fucking children's show war. No one's looking out for these fucking people. Electra, she was a model. She had her face shattered on one of these injuries because she falls down with the contestant on her back, and her fucking knee goes right through her face and like split her nose wide open. These people are falling 40 feet down. No one's regulating. You got these TV show producers. Just not regulating. Of course, they don't care. The MASH unit. They when they're interviewing the MASH unit too, and they're showing it there, and it's just they just have a curtain. They have a tent up, and the doctor's got a lab coat and an American Gladiator patch. That makes you think right away. Yeah, this guy might not be on the up and up. This doctor with an American what medical school did you go to there? American Gladiator? Hold on a second. Let me see if I. Jeez Louise, I'm getting fucking weird texts. I got really coming up soon. Anyway, the American Gladiator post, and then he's like, he's got his finger stick. He's like, yeah, your finger sticking out. Okay, we'll just glue that. He like to use glue for these people. Then they asked Johnny. This, like I said, this Johnny Ferraro scumbag. He's amazing. He's like, well, can't have the glory without the guts. Can't be a champion without bumps and bruises. The what? Champion of what? What are you talking about? The champion of the Annihilator? My bones are broken. I have a fucking concussion. Yeah, well, you're all replaceable. We can put a mask over you and nobody will know the difference. That's what he says. Well, when we talk about this guts and glory thing. So anyway, that's just a little preview of the American Gladiator 30 for 30 doc that like I said, it's incredible. I'm going to have you get into it. And coming up, I'm going to do a quick ad read, and then I'll get into, and then we're going to bring in Adam Ridley of the famed Ridley brothers, editor-in-chief of the 30 for 30 documentary. Not quite that, but I have to get him. I have to get him in and out soon. Let me do a quick ad read because he's feeding the homeless or something. He's not doing that. He's picking up a friend from the airport, which is actually more noble, more of a thing than I would ever do. Anyway, let me tell you about Underdog Fantasy real quick, and then we'll come back with Adam Ridley. We're brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Best Ball Mania 4 is here, and Underdog Fantasy is giving away $15 million in prizes. That's crazy. Plus, plenty of ways to win NBA, NHL, MLB with their player prop parlays. Head over to UnderdogFantasy.com. Use promo code SGPN for 100% deposit bonus up to $100. That's UnderdogFantasyPromo.com promo SGPN. Thank you for watching, by the way, on live on YouTube. Make sure to smash the subscribe button and like that button. Now, without further ado, let's bring. I'm gonna give Ridley some more of that music, and then we're gonna bring him in.
Ladies and gentlemen, from Gladiator Arena in Los Angeles, California, here are your American Gladiators. Ice, ice, baby! John! Blade! Do the thunder shake! Storm! Laser! Disaster! Power! Violent! Nitro! The Samuel Goldwyn Company presents the American Gladiators. Let the games begin.
Oh man, that was amazing. Adam, are you with us here?
I am, but I see my camera isn't on, so I'm not sure.
Camera's not on. This is perfect American Gladiator production. What's going on? So what's going on? Can you fix it? Do you hit it? Do you know what's going on there? Okay, so something's happening.
Yeah, it's stop cam, start cam. This is riveting content, I'm sure, for your viewers.
probably something we should have done beforehand. But this is it. This is exactly the way I want my first ever interview of the Man in the Box. First ever guest in the box. Here, we're gonna go side by side. Look at that. Black screen in the box. And then to be the famed Adam Ridley. What's going on? Why is your camera not working? Did you not test it out? Is there a test out?
It is. It says the camera's on. I don't understand. Because look at I said stop cam is this, and then
right.
So I don't understand.
Are you covering it up? Well, you got a fucking
no. I have
shirt over it.
That I did. Yeah.
Did you do the settings and test it? The whole thing.
I did. And I'm not sure. Yeah, I apologize.
Go to the settings there, StreamYard, whatever it is, and try. Maybe it's not working with the StreamYard. Maybe you have it set up for your Zoom and it's using a different camera. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
No, it said, "Can we use your camera?" And so all right, I think I just fixed it.
How did you?
There we go.
Oh my God, you did! There he is. Yes, sir. Look at that.
I was trying
Welcome.
to connect my other screen. So.
Oh man, yeah. I don't know if I should.
There we go.
Do you want to be in the box, Adam, or do you want to see my great thumbnail that I made there of the documentary? Yeah, I got Nitro, Zap, Malibu, Thunder, of course, on the motorcycle back when he could. Well, that was probably a prelude of things to come for Thunder not being able to walk, because we saw it in the documentary.
Yeah.
Well, welcome. Glad I got everything worked out. Glad
Absolutely.
I can get you
Thanks
here.
for having me.
Yep, just in time. The Degenerates are here. They're excited for this. I've had you on. Obviously, I was telling the story of off screen. Adam, really, you do great work. You did a documentary for 30 for 30 with for the American Gladiators. Before you were on Last Chance U, and I had you coming in my old show visitors locker room. You did a full hour on the great scumbag coach. I love scumbags. I'm like, that's what kind of I'll have my first ever guest be Ridley to talk about because this scumbag Johnny Ferraro is just one of a kind. One of those old,
I'm the
those
scumbag
old
whisperer.
school. Yeah, you are a scumbag whisperer. And then he did this great show. He told us all these amazing stories. And then Netflix is like, yeah, no, you can't tell them any of that.
Yeah.
Shut down the entire, and we had to scrap the whole interview. And luckily, you told me this time, this is produced by Vice News, so who gives a shit, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're bankrupt as it is. They just got bailed out. Who cares? Fucking everything to the wall. I love it.
That's great.
So how'd you get connected with this? Did you know Ben Berman or
I did. Yeah, we've been friends
Okay.
for a long time. He actually made the Amazing Jonathan documentary, and I helped out
which is
on
great.
that.
Oh, you
Yeah,
did?
it's
That's
amazing.
great.
Yeah.
That's one
Yeah,
where there's like
yeah.
three of them going on at the same time.
Exactly. Yeah.
That thing was amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, I think actually there ended up being 4 that he cut out. That's a crazy prank. So we became friends on that, and just friends of friends. And then he was looking for editors, and so I came in and sort of helped out for a few months on this to kind of bring it home. You know, because if your viewers have seen it, and I know you've watched it, it's a pretty ambitious thing. It's not a straight documentary about the American Gladiators, so it took some time to make.
No, it's not. And I imagine, even though I've never made a documentary like this, but I am an expert in things that I have no experience in. Do you, I imagine like you don't want to go in with an agenda when you do a documentary. You kind of let the story goes where it takes you, kind of a situation. Like, you know, a little bit what you want to do.
Yeah, you would hope. I mean, like that's like the political answer you say, but sometimes, I mean, everyone has an agenda with anything. You know, I won't put Ben's words in his mouth, but you know, basically the how it went is that Johnny Ferraro pitched, doing a story to Vice, and Vice is great. They got Ben involved, and then you still have to sell it to someone, so they ended up selling it to ESPN. But by doing that, you make a sizzle reel. So he did an interview with Malibu. He did an interview with Gemini, and then finally did an interview with Johnny. And right away, he met this guy, and he's like, "Okay, what's going on here?" You know, like, so I think the agenda presented itself.
I got you. That's perfect. Now Johnny tried to control the narrative. The entire time. He was
famously
hilarious.
Yeah. His line is like, "Are you going to tell my story? Are you going to tell the right story?"
The right story.
Yeah.
He's one of those old scumbag, like old-fashioned scumbags. We were talking about this before, like that you just that you can see how they're charming if you have zero follow-up questions to them. You know, like if you just like, because like he says the thing like, "Yeah, that one part's hilarious," where he's just like, "Yeah, you know what this is? This is an American story about 2 guys from Erie who, you know, just had a little dream, and we created this thing, how television's changed forever." And then Ben's like, "Yeah, okay, but there's not 2 guys here. There's one guy. Where's the other guy? Oh,
who you won't let us interview." Yeah.
Right. Oh, I legally bought the rights to his life.
Yeah, exactly.
What? I couldn't even believe you could do such a thing. That's amazing. Now I'm just asking people on the street if I could buy their life rights. So never, I just don't want you ever talking about your life.
Yeah, exactly. I love that. No follow-up questions.
No follow-up questions. And the whole documentary itself is a king of, which I think you guys were making fun of, which knowing the comedy element of Ben and you guys, you probably were like, because he's the king of like, I love that thing with the documentaries now where the interview guy comes into a chair in an empty room, like walking in, filming all that, sitting down, okay, is this happening? Is this really going to happen? And then like, boom, oh man, can't believe he does that for like every scene. And then it's a fake background in a motel room. Fucking hilarious for Johnny. Did you have any interactions with Johnny yourself?
No. As an editor,
you came in post afterwards.
But I actually, the most interaction I have is throughout the documentary, you could hear phone call voicemail from Johnny. So like the opening scene is like him walking around Venice Beach, stop, and he's like, "I'm not gonna walk around Venice Beach," you know. So I was involved in a few phone calls with him, but you know, personally, I didn't interact with him. No.
That's still pretty great, though.
Oh, it's the best, yeah, because you can. I mean, that's why I've directed stuff before, and it's just so exhausting because you're managing a personality with somebody like Johnny. So like he's getting phone calls. Ben was getting phone calls every week. Like, you know, you need to interview this person because he's going to tell the great stuff. You're going to, of course, that person is like his buddy from Erie that had nothing to do with the show, who ended up being great characters. So maybe they're right, but You know, it's
Here,
just
yeah,
awesome.
it reminded me of like when like a murder suspect wants to tell you who the cops should be investigating. You know, I mean, like,
Exactly. Yeah. I mean,
the boyfriend. I heard she had an ex-boyfriend she wasn't too fond of.
That's amazing,
And like, yeah, some of those calls are great too. I heard you're going to interview Dallas. She knows nothing about. You don't want nothing but bitching and complaining between Nitro and those guys.
Exactly.
last thing you want. There's a bunch of negative energy with this show.
Yeah, yeah. But last thing you want is drama in your story. I don't know why you want that.
So talk about that if you can, because half the gladiators hate this guy Johnny. And they wouldn't talk to you, or they probably legally couldn't, or whatever.
Yeah, you know, it's like they were sort of involved at first, like during that, like I was saying, that initial pitching stage. Like we interviewed Ice.
Oh,
you know, Lori, and so
yes.
we interviewed these people to like sell the project. And I think once they started like talking amongst themselves, because I'm sure they're all on like group text chain, you know, former gladiators. I don't know how that works, but they were like, oh, we should, you know, like this is history is repeating itself. Why would we get involved with Johnny again? Let's try to tell our own story. So not to plug another documentary, they're actually making another American Gladiators documentary. Those guys like Nitro, Ice, you know what, Jazz, all the other people,
all that we jazz all remember. Is that what's going so the real they're going to tell the real story.
Yeah, but like to be honest, you watched.
Sorry,
it, like,
Nitro. I got my I got my fill. Do you have an Elvis impersonator scumbag who stole all money from everybody? No, thank you. Then.
Yeah, exactly. And I think like the documentary is better because these people aren't in it. And unfortunately, you know,
it added intrigue for sure.
Exactly.
Are they dead? Or do they just have a grief with them? A beef with these guys?
One really interesting thing that we did that we ended up cutting out is that Ben cast a bunch of bodybuilders and interviewed them like they were the other gladiators. So he took Nitro wrote a book. He took Nitro's lines and had an actor playing. He wasn't playing Nitro. He was playing like Chainsaw. And there's a guy named John Anderson who's in the documentary who's just called a bodybuilding expert. You know, you're like, who's this guy? But he was a fake gladiator.
Wait a minute. You're not talking about Jamie Chaos Lewis, the strength historian, are you?
No. He's great. Okay. This is the guy. I think his name is John Anderson.
Okay.
So anyway, long story short, so part of the reveal,
by the way, is a great gladiator name.
Like, half the fun was coming up with fake gladiator names. Like, you know, if they didn't use it in Running Man, we could probably use it here. I don't know. And so we had these characters that you know, as a viewer, you don't remember the gladiators, so you don't know who these people are. And then, you know, part of the first episode, there's a reveal that there was like replacement gladiators that they end up using.
Yes,
that was a much bigger storyline because it sort of fed into the thing about how Johnny was like kind of a ruthless businessman. This is what to say. We had like a reveal that there ended up being these fake gladiators, and that led to the, you know, us revealing that we didn't have Nitro and all those people. So it was like a fun, like stylistic choice that we ended up cutting out. But
I thought that would have been fun. There was that strike element too, when the gladiators strike to go against Johnny, you know, because they're not getting all the money. Then you had the alternative gladiators, the scrubs, if you will.
Exactly.
If they crossed the picket line, then the real gladiators tried to stop them. And then they fought like in competition style.
They're in like the spheres, the whatever.
Yeah. Have to go through Powerball or the gauntlet to fucking cross the line to make that 10K. Talk about that strength historian, by the way. What an incredible job title. Strength historian, Jamie Chaos Lewis, who's just breaking down the history of people getting fitness, which he's like, because he had an amazing line, like, there was all this fitness in the 90s. They didn't know what to do with it, you know? So we might as well shoot tennis balls at each other.
That's a great point to think about, like the concept of like using muscles for athletic achievement. Hadn't been thought of till then.
We got all this muscle lying around.
Yeah. Just bash them into each other. Come on, what else are they doing? I know, football.
Right, exactly. Bouncer, anything that doesn't make you $12,000. We have to patch up your own broken bones without fucking Larry Zonka in your face.
Oh man,
where did you find that guy? Where did they find a guy? Anyone? That's
They did that before. I think he was referenced in an article about stuff. It's really funny, like back to what you're saying about agenda, like
Yeah.
they were just Ben and his team and Kirk, who's the co-director, were like just throwing everything at the wall. So there is actually an interview that I don't think made the cut with Peter Bogdanovich.
Okay, no.
The film director. And
Yes.
because it was about nostalgia and like stories and stuff like that. So like this is all to say, like there's a lot of themes that were being explored that, for whatever reason didn't make it, or it did make it, so I think that was sort of what the mindset was for interviewing Jamie.
Yeah, a lot of it did seem like a lot of it was thrown together, which I love. It. Throw everything out there, anything you can, because we're not going back. That's what it seemed like, And Apache Dan, how did that wind up? Where Apache Dan did get to go do the interview? Like, because at first Johnny had the rights to him. He legally wouldn't let him in the documentary, and then did Johnny literally forgive him? Is that what happened after that news?
Yeah, I mean that literally. I think
went on the news.
Exactly. It became such like a story that I think Johnny realized.
Yeah, he's gonna look bad at this.
Like all these guys, like they don't realize, they don't quite have the self-awareness that
right,
you sort of need to maybe be a good person. So I think that's what he felt the pressure.
Yeah,
and I'm sure some money was exchanged. I don't know the details, but I mean, come on,
of course. That first buyout of $500 in a room at the Imperial Palace. Jesus, that sounds like
exactly.
Sounds like something you give your kid as you go down and do a hooker or something.
Gift.
But it was definitely funny for sure. Like and that director too, Bob Levy, that was a hilarious line too.
Oh,
when Ben,
he's the best.
He was so funny. And then when Ben says that like off camera, you're obviously Jewish, right? He's like, oh yeah.
we did an employee screening, or like a friends and family screening, and Bob Levy showed up and he was wearing that same outfit.
Like fuck yeah, he was.
Yeah, he was a great time.
There's a lot of funny
those porn collection.
Who, Bob Levy?
He would have like I don't think this made the cut either, but like he would have stories where he would just have like parties where they would just sit, because he made tons of money, because he was also, like back when you would do syndicated television, you just make tons of money.
Right.
And so he would have this huge house and just throw parties where they just watch porn and like hang out and drink.
Good Lord, what an amazing party that must be, though.
Oh my God! I mean, yeah, just doing blow with nitro, watching Jenna Jameson.
Right. Now I know why there were two sirens that were all both in Playboy. I did my research. I was amazed how many of these gladiators were still alive, to be honest with you, because they all had hard knock lives, Even the success stories I was saying, like Malibu, that was hilarious part. I was like, keep it down, my roommate's back here. Your roommate? Yeah. Oh boy.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I mean, God
Not
bless
a lot
him.
of money in Mortal Kombat sequels, apparently. But, but he has a happy ending. He found a woman.
No, he does have a very happy ending. He found a beautiful wife. Beautiful wife that doesn't speak English. That was great. Amazing for Malibu. Hey, I'm rooting for him, and that was also one of the biggest surprises. Like after the show went off the air, did you guys know about this going into that dinner theater in Orlando? That was
when we found out about that with like aliens, oh my God. And then when we found the footage of that, like our minds were blown. That was huge. That was so great about the story. It's like all like Dan Carr wrote a book we had no idea about, all these things that kind of we discovered through the course of it. But yeah, that dinner theater, oh my gosh. Incredible. Yeah.
Dan Carr, Apache Dan, the greatest writer that sports writer from Erie, Pennsylvania has ever read, by the way.
Exactly.
Yeah. This book. All right.
Yeah.
The arm wrestler you're talking about? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
But yeah, that Orlando dinner theater, they're singing. It was just, it was fucking amazing. Like, I can't believe it. And I love his strategy. Like, yeah, I wanted to go to Disney where there's mice, and I wanted real humans. Really? You want to go to the one place where they have cheesy entertainment kind of monopolized?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Go to Iowa. Go anywhere. He goes to Orlando.
I mean, that's the best thing about Johnny, is that American Gladiators works so well because of how quote unquote simple it is. Meaning, you don't need aliens in it. Like, why? He was just trying to gussy up this. Like,
Right.
He was trying to brand dog food. He was trying to make a movie that, like all these things. Like, what are you doing? You don't know you have.
I know, right? Yeah, he does. That comes in the documentary. He's just plugging all these things. And everyone's like, "What? Why?" That doesn't even make any fucking sense. It's a brand. Yeah, it's a brand. It doesn't mean just slap it on a table or like any object. Oh man, he was just so funny, and it's. I tell you, the most overall thing I got out, besides Johnny being a scumbag, is how easy it is to manipulate these meatheads too. By the way, like it's like they almost forget mid-interview. Like Gemini's like, "Hey, you didn't talk to Nitro? How come you didn't talk to Nitro?" Oh wait, no, I know, I remember why. That's right. He got totally fucked and he hates him. That's right. Okay, now it's making sense.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, we were exploited for years.
Yeah, right. That's right.
And it pumping our veins full of drugs that are now with
it destroyed our lives, and half of us are dead. That's right. Okay, all right. Now I got you.
Oh man. Yeah.
Well, Adam, I know you got to go pick a buddy up at the airport. One of the most saintly things you could do in Los Angeles.
I should have made up something else. Like I don't know. I have a meeting at Spago with
right. I mean, you might as well say you're going to the homeless shelter to help feed. Like hand out turkeys or something. That actually would be less noble in Los Angeles than picking someone up at LAX. No, it's beautiful. Thank you for coming on, Adam. The good Ridley, as we have Bill Cruz is saying right here. Good to see you.
Wait, who said that? Sorry.
Bill Cruz just commented in there. Yeah. Let me put it up on the screen. He says, "Good to see you." I added the good Ridley. That's why. That's how I promote.
Okay. Well, there's good in there. That's what.
That's how I promoted this in our text thread, in our Chicago Comic Fantasy Football League thread. I go, I'll have the good Ridley on today. And I texted your brother Ryan, by the way. Shout out to Ryan, and so I told him that you're going to be on. He's like, "Yeah, I heard. I know." And he was not excited to support the family.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Still doesn't. Anytime I bring up Renfield, he goes into a depression for 5 minutes. So anyway. I don't know why.
But hey, it's streaming on Peacock, so everyone.
I love Renfield, dude. We saw it in theater. We loved it. We were part of that opening box office.
Yeah, I said you guys were the ones that went that weekend.
Well, they went up against Italian plumbers. Not easy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right.
And John Wick,
else?
apparently.
Yeah, John Wick as well. I was just going to say, is there anything you want to plug? Any upcoming projects or anything like that?
No. I mean, my brother and I are working on something, but that won't come out for a year. And I don't know. You can have me back on. We can talk about that. We'll try to make it sports related somehow.
You don't have to make it sports related. If I have you on together fighting each other, that'd be great. That'd be perfect.
Oh, there you go.
All right, Adam. Thanks for joining, everybody.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man. First ever guest in the box, Adam Ridley.
It's a pleasure. I'm honored.
Yes. All right. Now get out of there. There it was. Look at that. I should play some bomb sound effects. I mean, good Lord. So I got to play a song.
Ladies and gentlemen, from Gladiator Arena in Los Angeles, California, here are your American Gladiators. Ice, ice, baby! Jive! To the thunder shake! Storm! Laser! Disaster! Power! Violent! Nitro! The Samuel Goldwyn Company presents the American Gladiators. Let the games begin!
Oh man, don't think you're not going to hear that song at the end as well. Thank you for that, really. I mean, like I said, if you haven't seen that 30 for 30, it's well worth your time. It's a two-parter, but there's so many twists and turns with that scumbag Johnny Ferraro and Patchy Dan and all the I mean, it's more than just a straight up nostalgic, hey, remember this show in the Gladiators? And there's some of that, but they get that out of the way, and then it gets the fun, just absolutely con artist. Anyway, all right, welcome back to the Man in the Box, Bottom Line Bombs. I guess that's technically a Man in the Box, but that was my first ever guest. So let's lock it. No, we're not in the box yet. What am I doing? I still have to talk about those hockey bombs because the Stanley Cup is tonight. Well, let me stretch back out. Then I'll go back to the box. I gotta give out these bomb picks real quick. Then I'll go to the box. I'm not really sure what I want to talk about in the box. Vegas won game 1. We won that one. And even better for us, Jordan Marchessault, who I gave out for Conn Smythe, is he scored the opening goal. So now he's tied with Vegas for the most points. And he was at 9-1 where we gave him out. Now he's at 4.5-1. So that's good for us. We got closing line value, as they say. Game 2 tonight in Vegas. Line is -131 to Vegas, +119. So it's a little more, Vegas a little more favored. 5.5 is the over. +330 to go to overtime, which I'm kind of looking at. And there's a lot of props we like here. So let me give out some quick. So let me tell you real different. So we liked Vegas Saturday for the game 1. We said Saturday night in Vegas, you get there, they come out hot. It's a laser show, the whole thing. It's a whole vibe. But if anyone goes to Vegas for the weekend, Monday is a completely different vibe in Vegas. Monday is a nightmare. After the weekend, then you're trying to get home. The flight back from Vegas compared to the flight to Vegas, you couldn't have more difference of attitude, a collective attitude. I compare it to like when I used to go hiking back when I can move a little bit. Going down the hill compared to the people going up the hill. You look at people going up the hill, they don't want to talk to them. Like, oh God, there's some pain. Down the hill, you're cruising. This is great. A little gallivanting, a little walking. The flight back to Vegas is a night. You're like, just kill me. You want to commandeer the plane on that flight back from Vegas and have the pilot fly into New York casino and recreate 9/11. Take us out. Take us all out. Let's jihad this motherfucker. I lost all my money. I feel like dirt. That might have been a bit much, but I'm saying Monday in Vegas is a different vibe, and that's tonight. So now's the hangover game 2. So I want to take Florida at +120 to even this thing up. Let's bomb that. Because I said this series is going 7. Vegas did look a lot better. So Florida will make it, but that's hockey. What I like more is over 5.5. I'm going to give that out too. Over 5.5. Because Vegas is going to have a lot of shots on it. But I think Florida's just going to, it's you don't want to get too crazy into the analysis when it comes to hockey. When it's got the pucks and it's a puck'em game, pucks are bouncing around, puck. You just stay true to the system. I think this game's going 7. So for that to be the case, Florida's definitely going to have to tie this up. A third bomb we're going to give out this game. So we're giving out Florida +120, over 5.5. We're going to give out the first period over 1.5 is -120. This one I really like. This has happened 6 in a row in Vegas. Because this is another thing with Vegas. They have that laser show beforehand, like a stage shows like Cirque du Soleil. They come out, everyone's feeling great. This one, when you get off the plane, you're hitting the bar, you're spinning the wheel. Hey, what, $50? And then everything goes bad after that. So we'll do over 1.5 first period for drinks at the bar before you hit the tables. Then you get fucking around. If you want to do some props, I'll give some of those out too. I'll give about Alex Stone over 2.5 shots, +110. He had 7 in the first game. I think he's going to keep going. Shea Theodore over 2.5 shots, +120. We'll give out that. So that's 5. And we'll give out our guy Marchessault again because we're going to ride Marchessault this entire series. All for 1 point, over 0.5 point. That's -150. Let's get him that Conn Smythe. Bomb it. Whatever the Conn Smythe is. Like we said, those Canadian trophies. I mean, all the hockey trophies, they're all named after Canadian, like, old prime ministers and viceroys and shit. The Lady Bing and the Nark Norris and the Sir Francois Chris Campbell. What? What's that mean? Oh, it means he was the best left wing. Why don't you say that? Guys, we like this. Anyway, with that being said, I have to hasten up the show. Not hasten up the show. Quick up the show. These aren't sentences either. Quick up the show. What? Wait, education is just gone. Now we're in the box. Welcome to the Man in the Box. And once again, thank you for everyone who did join the show live. JC from KC, who said the degenerates are here. Let me get that up there. Then detonate the bomb. Yes, sir, JC. And saying, Bill Cruz, everybody. The untrained eye. Spolestra. What do I want to talk about the Man in the Box? I talked a lot about 30 for 30 with the American Gladiators. That should be most of my Man in the Box and scumbags. But I have a couple things I wanted to talk about. Mainly golf betting, people and gambling. I golfed this week in my Saturday cash game, the Roosevelt at Griffith Park. I was driving there, and this guy on the road on Franklin had his trunk open, wide open, driving down Franklin with his trunk popped straight up vertical. And I pull up next to him at the light to tell him, I better tell him, hey, your trunk's open. So I pull up next to him with the window down. Before I could even say 2 words, hey, did you know? Hey, did you know? He gave me a look in reaction like I was the 9th person to tell him that in the last 30 seconds. I continued on. He's like, hey, did you? Yes, I know. My trunk's open. A guy hit me. I got in an accident. I can't shut it. It's way. Okay. All right, buddy. Jeez. Just trying to be a good Samaritan over here. I know. Thank you. I shouldn't be upset with you, but it's very frustrating. Okay. All right. Then I looked down in his bumper, of course, was absolutely mangled. I'm like, oh, I see. This accident is fresh. You just had a fresh accident and you can't open your trunk. Because it wasn't like an SUV, like a hatchback open. Like, of course, he knew the trunk was open. So I felt a little bad, but then I laughed about it. Like, yeah, he probably doesn't need to be reminded of this. But I wanted to help out, especially in Los Angeles. People drive around here. I said before, the turn signals. People pull up the turn signal on after they make turns out here, like they're showing a declaration of achievement. And then but people are so fucking into themselves here. Jesus, that took me a while to curse like that. It's like they're in their own video game. Coming out today, I pulled left onto Hollywood to get out of my place. And this truck, I mean, he damn near clipped me coming the other way, making his left. Like, I got to go this way. Everyone's like a character in their own video game. Where no one else they don't think anyone else are people. Just like things to bounce off of and to get out of their way. This fucking maniac almost clipped me because he wanted to cut the angle. Hey, I'm sorry, I got to go here. Oh, do you? Sorry, I have to live in a society with people. Speaking of which, I've talked earlier about my constraints online, like with comments. Now that I do these Man in the Box videos and I put them online, YouTube Shorts and all that shit, and Instagram Reels, you have to do this stuff, especially in comedy. And it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. One, you got to edit all the time. You got to put all the shit out there. And people didn't have to do this back in the day. I don't even know what I'm doing. Well, what's nightmare is now you get now the public sees it. Now it's just all comments and YouTube comments, and they're never positive. I mean, even if they are positive, they're still a little crazy. No one logs in to post something positive. They always do some absurd trolling. I'm like, what am I going to interact with these people? They're the kind of people that comment on YouTube. So that happens on Twitter as well. This one, the Sports Gaming Podcast Network. And thank you for everyone who is listening to the Bottom Line Bombs. Make sure you subscribe and give 5-star reviews. I need all that. I need everything for the algorithms. Our man Boston Capper, if you follow this show, he does golf and else. Yesterday, Danny McCarthy had 100-1. I had 100-1 fucking ticket on this guy to win, and he blew the lead. He lost in the playoff. I hedged out a little bit, but whatever. Not as much as I should have in retrospect. But this Boston Capper, who recently had a serious health scare, he had a heart attack. I wished him well and all that. do the whole thing, private message, go. And even now, a day later, I'm still rooting for you, Boston Capper. But I wasn't yesterday because he tweets out, I think he personally jinxed, oh, this tournament sucks. McCarthy just won it. You know, basically, get rid of this tournament. Fucking McCarthy's the winner. And then he blows it. And I'm like, you motherfucker. A 100-to-1 ticket on this thing. And I hate, so this is the worst people in what's worse? The guy who texts you congratulations that you won your bet early on before it happens and jinxes it that way, or the guy who does the good game, bruh. As we have a guy in our fantasy football league who does that, Blue Steel, Kyle Boland, the man who designed my logo, by the way. Hey, good game, bros. He tries a reverse game. You got this, bruh. To know you're going to lose that way. You won. Don't worry about it. It's all wrapped up, and I lost. The guy was like personally against you to win his whatever the fuck he wanted to win, his $5 bet. So anyway, that happens. He blows it, and I, of course, blame him, Boston Capper, not McCarthy, for blowing the game, blowing the round of golf. That would be the sensible thing to do. That's how gamblers do. I'm blaming the guy who jinxed it. And I said, I take back all my well wishes. And I showed, I thought, pretty great restraint by not wishing him another heart attack. I thought I was a pretty good guy for doing that. That's me, your man in the box. You're good guy. But anyway, where am I at here? Where am I at with time? Do I have time to get into Aaron Rodgers and Taylor Swift? I'm at an hour. I'll save that for Wednesday. Every Monday and Wednesday, live at noon Pacific, 3:00 Eastern. We started a half hour earlier today so I can sneak Adam Ridley in, my first ever guest in a box. Guest in a box. Shout out to Adam Ridley. Make sure you watch the 30 for 30 of American Gladiators. It's on demand. It's on ESPN. It's all on all things. It's great. Wednesday, I'll talk about Aaron Rodgers and Taylor. Bill Cruz, you'll come back for some Taylor Swift talk, some Swifties. It's great that the only concerts people can see are if you pay $30,000 for the elites, and you can pay $30,000 ticket. That's a good system we have going on. Anyway, a reminder to subscribe and give a 5-star review. Give them a 5-star review. Just leave any review. I don't care if it's 5 stars or not. For the Bottom Line Bombs, and my YouTube, my Instagram, CJ Sullivan was taken. Twitter at CJ Sullivan _ at CJ Sullivan period at Bottom Line Bombs on YouTube. TikTok, the whole goddamn thing. CJ Sullivan, you'll find me if you want to. I have another podcast with Blackout Diaries with Sean Flannery, great drinking story podcast. Subscribe to that. You can find that anywhere pods are told us as well. Other than that, I don't have anything really to promote. I'm not going back on the road until July, so we'll get shit together. I do want to say my Edge. I got to thank Edge Boost again for sponsoring this episode. My double down play of the day is over. First period, 1.5 goals. Vegas and Florida. Edge Boost enables you to double down your bet with no interest. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/edge to sign up today. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/edge. And with that, is our Bottom Line Bombs.
Ladies and gentlemen, from Gladiator Arena in Los Angeles, California, here are your American Gladiators. Ice, ice, baby. Jive. Do the thunder shake. Storm. Laser. Disaster. Power. Violent. The Sandoz Goldwyn Company presents the American Gladiators. Let the games begin.